Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Hello. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to you.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday. You see what I'm doing? Nothing.
Exactly what I'm doing. I know, you know what? A lot of boycott has been going on over Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl. People just are kind of tuned out. Did you hear anything about that?
Oh yeah, I got a notification from TPUSA. I have their app on my phone, and I never get notifications unless I'm at
I just got one.
Yeah, and I got one. They were like, "Hey, this is the way to get to the YouTube channel.
Change the channel at halftime." That one. Yeah, me too. So, by the way, we're rerunning this 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. So, primaries are here. This is crunch time. This is our Super Bowl and Olympics all wound up into one. We are driving to Thursday, first day of early voting in North Carolina.
So people always say, I don't know how you handle politics. First of all, I love it. It's the only place where you can be a mean girl and get something out of it. And the second thing is, listen, this is what we do it for. When you get into political season, the crazy comes out. Like, we've got a lot of things to talk about in the state of North Carolina and North Carolina Republican politics.
Well, you said crazy, you said nuts. And so I'm going to start this out with a little PSA because I've gotten a lot of messages. You've gotten a lot of messages. So we're going to address the elephant in the room. And by the elephant, I mean, we already know. We've got a woman who has been stalking me. We're into the 5-year point, you for 3 years. And I just want to say, we're okay. A lot of you, in all seriousness, say political violence is going on. Crazy people. I mean, today alone, I've gotten no fewer than a dozen messages from people who are just interfacing with this stalker for the first time because she stalks others connected to us. And they're scared.
Well, that's interesting you should bring that up because I never get messages off of X. People on X will often comment, but I have now gotten a couple of messages that were not related to X, and it was kind of scary because, like, first of all, I've never met this person, and the only time I ever was exposed to her was when I started working with you, when we started working on the Peyton McNabb story.
She will, just so you know, and thank you, Ted. This is something that a lot of people have been saying is that they are, supporters of ours or whatever, and she'll start stalking them. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I love gay people. I mean, I've got the most gay friends ever, but this began about 5.5 years ago. I went on a television program and she lives in this area and she made it known that she was in love with me, which, I do not swing that way. It's, I don't have anything against it, but this is a woman who, I think if you look at her, and you look at us, you'll see maybe part of the reason why this happened. But, she stalked me up to DC. You and I encountered that.
Yeah, she did stalk us in DC at CPAC. Yeah.
The NCGOP had to have a bodyguard guard me. She tried to corner me in a bathroom. So the woman
after threatening us, after making death threats.
This is her. So if you see her out in the wild, she also stalks many politicians who come on this show, such as Eric Stevenson, Mark Walker. She is a menace. This is her. And so I just want to say to you that this has been going on. First of all, we're safe. She's had several restraining orders, types of. I mean, her own mother sued her. This is how, we're in politics. So, to an extent, we're public figures.
I've never met her. I don't know her. And what I've noticed and observed is that anytime we do something, she copies it and becomes, it becomes an obsession for her on her X feed, because that's how I find out. I don't go search it out. And she's very defamatory. That's the right word.
Well, I mean, in full disclosure, I did sue her in Wake County, did put her into bankruptcy for defamation. She continues to spiral. It's very scary. And criminal psychologists have told me that there are people like this who they want your life. It's really weird. They emulate your life and they follow everything, and you become the center of their life. And this is what this stalker has been for me for 5 years, and by extension for you for 3.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing that started for me when she really picked me up was when Whatley was had the last convention for the when he was the NC GOP chair running again. And I was working on TikTok mostly, and I broke the story about the electronic ballots, and she wanted me to turn over my sources to verify them to ensure that she got the story. And that's how I met her. I didn't even know her before that.
She pretends to be a journalist like me, right? It's so the same identity. She's even made up this fiction that she's Jewish. I mean, it's really weird. It's really weird to live through something like this. But in acting like she's a journalist and in contacting my associates, that's your first interface with her. And it hasn't stopped. And to your point, it is defamatory. The wild, crazy stuff she said about all of us. And then Eric, I mean, accusing politicians of crazy things, sexual things, stalking her. It's just not, I mean, we are fine. If you're a follower of us, a lot of you guys might have interfaced with her. But I want to identify her. We're not going to run from her. We are fine. And we're going to keep doing this damn show. We're not going to let people like this, This is the craziness. This is whatever QAnon is. She's a Groyper, so she's an anti-Semite.
She's an outsider too. She's not from North Carolina. She's from Michigan. She's not from here, and she is desperately trying to fit in, is what I feel like. I really kind of feel pathetic, really sorry for her, because it's clear that she doesn't have a place and she doesn't know where to fit in. And even in her own party, we watched her around the NCGOP when we had to, because we had a bodyguard, but we could see that she was desperately trying to fit in.
And she's trying to do that through basically in real life identity theft. It's just weird. But thank you for all the calls. And I'm not going to be embarrassed about it anymore. I'm going to talk openly and freely. I have been very reticent to mention it. Not going to be embarrassed anymore.
Well, honestly, I'm proud of you, Sloan, because she has done so many things to malign you, your family, your children, your religion, your work. And I'm very proud that you're standing up. I was kind of shocked that I got thrown in this. I don't even live near you. I live 8 hours away. So when I started seeing it, and then she started going after me, I was like, wow, this is weird. And it's just continued to escalate, and it feels very stalkery.
It feels dangerous.
It does.
And so I think with danger, the best thing to do with danger is name it, say it, right? Have a lot of eyes and ears out looking for you. But speaking of danger, okay, we're going to get right to it. What's been really big news and has pissed all of us. I mean, we've been talking about this and talking about this and talking about this, and it's Roy Cooper.
Get early release from prison back during COVID. Our government reporter, Joe Bruno, made the connection. He joins us now in the studio to explain. Joe?
So back in the height of COVID, the ACLU and NAACP sued Governor Roy Cooper, calling for inmates to be released because of the pandemic. The parties settled, and 3,500 prisoners were granted early release. The list of those 3,500 people was never made public. Today, I confirmed DeCarlos Brown was on it. despite
Okay.
being on the list.
Okay.
Prison officials say he wasn't released because of it. DeCarlos Brown is a house.
Okay, so now we're finding out, and you know the data a little bit more than me. It wasn't just this repeat violent offender that slit the throat of Irina Zaruska. It was, tell us about some of the people on the list that he let out.
There were murderers. There were people that there were my list I know mostly more intimately is his clemency list. But in this particular instance, a couple things happened. He allowed murderers to get out. He allowed rapists to get out. He also moved people to minimum
Here we go.
security facilities from maximum security facilities. One of the things that came out of that people don't realize, and one of the reasons that people found out, is because the prison correction officers were also moved at that time, and they started to get COVID, and it started to ramp up. And they're like, hey, why are we letting these people out if we're moving over to other prisons and catching the disease you're trying to stop us from getting?
So, I mean, here are some of the things that he put out there. So, here's a guy on the list convicted of second-degree murder in '86, sentenced to life plus 26 years. Him and his brother were accused of killing a 30-year-old Greensboro man who was tied up, gagged with a sock, beat to death. He let him out. Second one, this is Andrew Dunn reporting this. First-degree murder of a Domino's pizza delivery man for no fault of his own, right? Delivering a pizza and murdered. This is absolutely horrific. This guy, rape, robbery, vicious rape. Let out. So much for women, huh?
Some of these that you're looking at were also when he left office, a couple of those were also granted pardons and clemency.
So
they
let
didn't just
out.
let him out.
Clean
They
slate.
gave him, yes. Well, clean slate. It still shows on your record, but it shows that you've been pardoned.
Okay. This guy, 2 unrelated murders. In other words, back to back, a repeat murderer. I think you might. What's the serial killer? 3 murders.
Well, I think this is the guy who. I'm pretty sure this is the guy who murdered someone, got a sentence, got out, got caught murdering again, and he did this. That's him.
Okay. So, and we have that coupled with Cooper, and I think it's just they're really on cue, the Democrats. I just read a couple of stories where it wasn't Cooper, it was Stein, who said, we have to love them out of this, basically.
Oh, yeah. Josh Stein, who's the same guy who, instead of like praying for the victims or helping the victims at Christmas, puts up Christmas ornaments on his tree from these offenders and celebrates the fact that prisoners who killed people made Christmas ornaments. Also, Josh Stein, same guy, who still has 8,000 rape kits that he hasn't finished before he took over as governor, from the 15,000 that he didn't get to before his second term.
So let me give you the impact of what that means, because we've said it so often. I don't think people realize that. It means, God forbid, your mother, right, was raped 20 years ago, whatever. There's a DNA sample there. Your mom that's a family trauma that you carry, your siblings carry, your father carries, and your mother carries, without justice. And that's one of what, 8,000?
8,000 left when it started, when Jim O'Neill exposed this. First of all, it was under Roy Cooper first, but Jim O'Neill, who was running against him, Josh Stein, really was the one that exposed it as Josh Stein started to run for Attorney General. And it became a significant story, and Jim O'Neill almost beat him. Like, it was very, very, very
Jim O'Neill didn't campaign. So, guys, this is Forsyth County's
district attorney.
DA. Okay. He ran for state AG. I'm not kidding you. I want to underscore how lousy of a politician and candidate Josh Stein was, because Jim O'Neill, I didn't see a sign for him. I saw him maybe at 1 or 2 events. I mean, you and I worked the circuit. We know the guy did not get out there at all and still almost beat Josh Stein, which is unfortunate. we would have had a completely different state had he won.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. He exposed this issue of rape kits that were not, being taken care of and going through the forensics and DNA process. And he forced the hand of the attorney generals to do something. But here's what happened after that. They started putting up the numbers, and you would have thought that maybe they would have moved them quickly. No, they did not. There's still 800. There's still 8,000 out there. They've only caught 151 rapists out of 15,000.
But he's coddling criminals because that's his main
Correct.
function. So for him, criminal justice, the main function is coddling criminals, making sure, by the way, he's Jewish. Why is he harping on a Christmas tree and ornaments? Why?
Your guess is as good as mine. I think this is one area that most people don't even realize that it's been inherited by Jeff Jackson. He has not put the numbers out, interesting enough. So, somebody needs to start a vigilant watch and hold him to account, just like they did Josh Stein, because Josh Stein was putting the numbers out. He would put them out monthly.
Well, Josh Stein, and Jeff Jackson are too busy going after the Trump administration for executive orders, which we'll be talking about later in the show. But the thing that I like about Republicans, and look, there's many things that are deficient. We only have two parties. So it's a bifurcated system by and large. You're not going to like everything. In fact, maybe you don't even like 75% of the party. But I'll tell you what I like. When there's a problem and it gets identified, it gets fixed. For instance, another instance of a CDL catastrophe, killing an Amish family. This guy is from, I think, Yugoslavia, wherever, doesn't have a license, illegal. Josh Shapiro, another Democrat, completely justifies this. Nothing to see here, totally legal. This guy killed a whole family of 4 Amish people. Now we find, and actually this is from a couple weeks ago, the DOT is cracked down and pulling hundreds of English illiterate, illegal truckers off the road. So again, we have a problem. American lives are taken. Nothing's being done at the state. We exposed North Carolina for doing this. California. What was the other state? This one was Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think the other piece is I think we as Americans need to get more comfortable saying you need to speak our language, or you need to take the driver's test in our language, the CDL test in our language. We need to get more comfortable saying that instead of coddling these people, because clearly they can't pass the test regardless.
So, I just showed you 2 wrecks. Look at this. These aren't, by the way, when you get hit by an 18-wheeler, it's not like getting hit with a Range Rover, friends. You don't survive. And they don't have a scratch on them.
Yeah. Well, and we also know we know for a fact Roy Cooper allowed, 14,000 something? I don't know. There's a large number of people that got CDLs in North Carolina that should not have been granted CDLs. And a lot of them are illegal.
Yeah. A lot of them are illegal, and there's no oversight on it. It needs to be, taken care of. Again, lives lost. This is just, I thought this is interesting from Liz McDonald. 662,566 criminal illegal aliens convicted or charged with crimes are now inside of the interior. That means they entered the country and committed crime. And you guys don't think ICE should be out there trying to find them.
Well, too bad, because Trump won at the circuit level and he'll win at the Supreme Court. He doesn't have to hold them for bail. He can remove them. And the only thing that's really going to hold him back from doing that is having the facilities to hold them before they get deported out to the country they belong in.
Well, that's a civil process. So understand this, guys. This is a civil administrative process, bringing somebody to a hearing and holding them beforehand. So if they cooperated, okay, it'd be fine. This is a funny story. I have a doctor, longtime doctor. I had an injection in my hip on Friday, but he's a total stone cold Democrat. We always talk politics. And since he's got the shots, I'm usually pretty compliant.
I bet you are.
I am. Far leftist guy. And he knows I'm in politics. He knows what I do. He reads my stories. he let it fly. I mean, he was like, look, the people that are killing people need to be out immediately. I thought that was progress.
Well, and I think that here's the thing. I think a lot of people were fine until the media made martyrs out of pretty and good. I think that until then, and I also think that now that Holman's in Minnesota, you're seeing it downplayed. They've gotten a letters of agreement with every county except one in Minnesota. So things are really moving in the right direction. And I think even the rhetoric from the media has tampered down. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm seeing.
Well, I try not to trigger myself with leftist media.
Yeah.
I keep a good balance because I have to for the show. But again, what I'm seeing on my feed, and again, the feed on X is curated. Our news is curated. So we're in a little bit of a bubble, but I'm seeing every day 10 and 15 crimes a day committed by illegals that are physical crimes.
True. Same. And what's really weird is people that report on these crimes have figured out that you and I are from North Carolina, and they bring them to us to be able to show people. And it's really kind of sad when there's so many crimes in North Carolina that specific feeds will send you the crime so that you could highlight it because their feed's maybe not as big, or they want people to know.
Yeah.
Just like that Asheville DUI you were talking about.
Here it is. Just the highlight. Actually, this isn't the DUI. This is the sex predator raping.
Oh, that's right. My fault.
Child rape charges for a man. 29-year-old Juan Ramon Juarez Telementes was arrested in November for 2 counts of statutory rape involving a child at least 13, 14, or 15 years old. Then in January, he was charged with an additional count involving a 3rd victim. The cases go back to 2024.
So it goes on and on and on. So they're killing our citizens, raping our children. If not for them being in the country illegally under Biden's open border policy, these people would still be alive, and these children wouldn't have to face a lifetime of darkness.
Yeah, well, that means we have to have good judicial processes and good candidates in the judicial process and good people in law enforcement.
That's true. And we're going to be talking about some that are good, some that are not, because it is a primary. If you don't get your ass out there and vote, you cannot save the republic. Anyway, that's my guilting. It's going to go on. This is the DUI. So this is a lovely woman minding her own business. Patricia Ann Cole, thinks she's 50, living in Asheville. This is a second case in Asheville where a drunk driver just wiped her out. We can't live like this.
Well, how did he get a driver's license? And it was my understanding that guy didn't stick around either. He took off.
No, he left. So, okay, so the Senate races are heating up. Look, it's the primary, so it's really the push. If you're in politics, you know what a crunch that it is. You know that all the candidates aren't sleeping. It's like it's like
go time.
It's go time. If you're not, and you're not a regular voter, this time has to be different for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of funny to realize that this next Thursday begins early voting. And there are people that still every day are asking us for their ballot choices. And we're going to continue to give you those. And we're going to highlight specific counties that you need to be aware of and specific races that I think are, and I know Sloan does too, we agree need to be put on the forefront.
Yeah. And if you have a ballot, a sample ballot, we get DMs all the time. People ask us all the time, who do I vote for? I'm in Cabarrus County. Who do I vote for? I'm in Buncombe or Brunswick or whatever. Send it. We vetted almost all the candidates, and we will let you know. We vetted them through their social media, through their voting record, on the ground. We do a good job.
We really do. And we also rely on grassroots, operatives that have done a lot more vetting than we have. So if you ask me for anything in NC11, which is Western North Carolina, I definitely have grassroots patriots that have really done the vetting, interviewing, all that, as well as any other place. But we need to be, you need to tell us what you want.
Yeah, Lee County, Granville County. But look, the man of the hour really is, and I really want to mention this, and I talked to his team last night, Don Brown. So Don Brown is in a GOP primary. He's got a few other people in there. Whatley, we'll talk about him. But I'm telling you, he's been at this for, well over a year. tell us about his background again?
So Don Brown is first of all, he's a Christian. That's the first thing you should know. He's
Mhm.
a native North Carolinian. He's also he was a former JAG in the United States Navy. He was put in an elite JAG force working for Admiral Mac Williams, who was one of my father's best friends,
Mhm.
who ran the JAG Corps for the entire Navy. He's also an accomplished lawyer here in North Carolina, but he does a
Novelist?
lot of he's absolutely a best-selling novelist, but he works a lot on cases regarding federal law. For
January
instance,
6th cases too.
he did January 6th, but some of his famous cases are he worked to get the SEAL Team 6 families to get the death incident reports to them after their families died. He's also worked on court-martial cases to get people back out of jail that were wrongly accused. Jay Sixers from North Carolina. He's pretty pervasive. He ran for Dan Bishop's seat in Congress. I think that was a good primer for him. He kind of got the feel for how the game works.
Right.
And he's just really hitting the ground running. I think he has 13 or 14 bestsellers as an author.
Military historian, about SEAL Team 6 and other things. I mean,
Done
Sharia
movies.
law expert. Yep,
Done movies, testified in front of Congress, met with President Trump, met with many presidents in the past to help with military challenges that need to be addressed.
He's a doer. But I'm seeing, listen, everywhere I go on social media, which is important, and all the chatter, all of the grassroots have come out. So we support him fully. This is my endorsement of him very early on. Michael Watley has never called us, I know him, of course. He's never asked for my support. He's never asked the grassroots for anything. He's taken credit for everything. So he doesn't need my vote. He doesn't need my support.
Well, I think the other thing about Michael Watley is that I can't find anything on his a platform. We're learning that he has over $1 million in oil stocks, but he has no platform.
I'll get to that.
Zero platform. Like, what are you running on?
We don't know the policies. It's just, hey, I'm here. I've got. I mean, everywhere I go, he's running to replace Tillis. He will be different from Tillis, Don Brown. Yeah. So let's talk about this ass kicking. Daniel Littman from Politico, this was on Friday, came after Michael Watley. And by the way, this is a taste of what we're going to see if, God forbid, Michael Watley wins the primary. So, this is a slap down. Here Michael Watley is praising Wendura being ousted, but his family has personally gained from major oil companies that saw an immediate spike after he was captured. So why is he cheering, for America or for his pocketbook?
Yeah, I have some personal, I've never figured out where Michael Watley got his money. He apparently supposedly is from Watauga County, went to Notre Dame. That's not a cheap place to go to school. His wife doesn't work. He's got kids in private school. Where's he get his money?
I don't know. He's a lawyer. I don't know that he practices, but
you cannot be serious, Sloan. He is an attorney. You are correct, but he did not activate his law license. He had never used it until he became the RNC head of legal, which would have been 3 years ago.
Well, I'd like to point out the major players here. The only vet is Don Brown,
veteran and a fighter.
He's already dedicated his life to service of this country, risked his life. So the choice is clear. Clear.
Yeah.
So, people are out there beating up on, Sadie's pretty rough.
She's over him.
Sadie said the same thing as me. He hasn't asked us for his vote. He hasn't talked to us. He doesn't give a shit. Honestly, that's my opinion.
Well, the numbers out there say that he has to carry all of the NC GOP and he can't lose 11% of his base. It's clear he's not going to carry. I'm very worried we're not going to have, a senator that is Republican in North Carolina unless Don Brown can really pick it up and go.
He's the only one. He's the only one that can beat Whatley. And in another news, we do have a Fruit Loop report on Michelle Moreau. I think she continues to descend into Nuttyville. She was at a Fayetteville candidate forum. One of the candidates told me that she came up in the middle of a conversation he was having with a voter and just started attacking him like she was some sort of crazed lunatic. And she ended up calling a bunch of people and talking shit on Jim Womack, which you do not do. You do not do. And almost in tears, according to the people that were there. So I think she's losing her shit.
Well, it must be a family thing, because apparently her mother or sister or somebody went to an event with Don Brown, and that same thing happened where they stood up and said, "Why are you talking about my daughter or my sister?" Something like that. It was crazy.
She lied and said she did not get in this race to attack Don Brown. All the woman has done is attack Don Brown.
In writing too.
Been in his presence. So she is here to specifically attack Don Brown, but the woman is a basket full of problems. She needs help.
Yeah, well, I don't understand her stance on the race. I've never understood it. Nobody in their right mind would write a 10-page letter manifesto and put it out there like that and think that's a good campaign move.
Which she went after everybody in the grassroots and said, and paraphrasing, "Y'all are all stupid. I'm right. And then used God a whole bunch of times."
Yeah, because we're all down.
Piss people off.
It's
pisses people off good.
Yeah. So listen, the races are getting crazy. We do know that at the top of the ticket, though, on every ballot, no matter where you live, you're going to have Don Brown. In my particular district, the next one would be congressional, and it will be Adam Smith. That's who we're going for, not Chuck Edwards.
Okay, but let's talk about this one. This is statewide. Tell us about
this.
And
then we're going to get to this guy, Michael Barnesworth, over Matt Smith. So these two gentlemen are running for the Court of Appeals. I personally have talked to and met with Michael Barnes. We're going to try to get him on the show. I have also had several testimonials about his work in what he does currently. And so with that in mind, we're going to endorse him and try to get him on the show. But we especially want you to vote for him.
We'll get him on the show, but I just want to temper y'all's expectations. When I have judges on the show, it's kind of like, it's not that fun because they can't be open and out there with their opinions. So it's basically, yes, that's the Constitution. So it's not like, right, listen, where we can get on here and rip.
They're not highly emotional people. And trust me, we got a few lawyers in our corner here. They're not emotional. They see things in a different way. So what you're going to hear from him is his background.
They're not fun.
I don't know. Maybe if you go to dinner with them, they are, but they're not fun when you're just having a conversation. Although I find his career very intriguing. He's done a lot of things. He does a lot of the arbitration work for state troopers and state workers in general. And that requires that you not have a party affiliation, because who cares, right? Mm-hmm. If you had an injury as a trooper.
The
so I find
doesn't have a party.
That's right. And he handles that just like he should.
Okay. And then we had some conversation about sheriffs behaving badly. Now, this is your Super Bowl, your Christmas, your everything rolled up in one. Tell us about this feller, Cherokee County Sheriff Dustin Smith.
Yeah. So this was this campaign season, this was locally. This is my one thing that I wanted to make sure people were aware of. I don't want this guy to be anybody's sheriff. And it's because of safety more than anything. He was, let me just give you some backstory. For those of you that don't know, this is the same sheriff that had a swatting incident And in that swatting incident where the 911 call was coordinated between a caller and 2 deputies to be made in a specific way to create or instigate the swatting incident, we, our county worked with the Cherokee tribe, the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, because they have a SWAT team and we don't. And we have a memorandum of understanding. So they came over to our county to help the sheriff because this
guy.
Yeah, because the caller said that the person that she called on was trying to kill somebody and was making irrational comments. So they get over there with the SWAT.
Dangerous. Squatting is very dangerous.
Oh, it's well, it gets better, Sloan. So they end up they put a remote camera into this man's, and we all know, everybody knows what happened. He comes out, he lights a cigarette, puts his hands up behind his head, and he gets shot. An unarmed man gets shot. And the sheriff literally lied about what happened. He changed his public statement at least twice. And then the gentleman had cameras that you could clearly see the footage. Well, that's one incident. Then we had the deputy by
the way, always have a good ring door cam, because if something goes down and you do get falsely arrested for instance, I'm just saying.
Well, that guy won $10 million in a lawsuit. And that was a settlement, because he probably could have gotten more. But it also had a different amount of fallout. Like right now, the ECBI, the Eastern Band, will not work with the county. We have a casino here. That's their land. So there's that. And then, of course, people also remember in North Carolina, we lost a deputy because a federal felon who was an inmate at our jail here was taken to the hospital, and the guy took his gun and shot him, killed him, carjacked a car and did a 3-county, high-speed chase. And then lastly was 2 weeks ago, and this was sort of the what broke the camel's back for me, other than the fact that the sheriff personally sent text messages to people that said he would help them get harassment warrants against me. That was
he came against Margot because she was keeping it real about him, and he's had
that was before.
He's had his dirty little hands in some bullshit lawfare lawsuit meant to silence Margot, by the way. And when that's over with, I'm gonna have a little fun. People think that they can just make up shit that are lies, cost people legal money, etc. But once this is over with, you can't talk, but I can. We are going to expose what's going on. But this guy thought it was awfully funny to get his little hands dirty in something that has nothing to do with law enforcement, nothing to do about the caring concern of his people. He's resigning. He's losing his job. So we talked about others that were doing that. So audience, when you're counting, we're up to
we have a badass DA. We do. We have a badass
3
DA.
sheriffs. Okay, so I guess the further you are from Raleigh, the more chicanery and churlishness you believe you can get into.
Well, Haywood's got their own hands full right now with their police chief.
Where's Haywood? Haywood's right there too.
It's right near Asheville. Yeah, they're one of the police chiefs there, and I don't know if it was Waynesville. I can't remember, but he just resigned due to fraud and criminal investigation.
So y'all have some wild ass sheriffs.
Oh yeah, and just police in general. Oh yeah, and police in general. Today, there was a notice that a police officer in Buncombe County, which is Asheville, has been charged with, I think, child abuse, high-speed chase. I mean,
one person great in Raleigh that was pulling women over and raping them.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
So look, any system, all systems, right? Teacher, doctors, whatever. If they're made up of human beings, there's going to be rotten apples. You know who's calling us? Sam Page. Sam Page.
Speaking of sheriff.
We can't, speaking of sheriffs, he's calling right now. But we can't talk. But so Sheriff Sam Page is also running. But, no one's perfect. Like, no system is terrible. Like, all cops aren't bastards. All teachers aren't bastards. Right? But it's complicated.
Well, it is complicated, and there are 3 separate, very distinct issues that have taken place in those 3 sheriff incidents. And frankly, I want to be clear, the DA removed the first 2 sheriffs, Swain County and Graham County. That's not what happened in this incident. I think she played hardball with him and said,
"It's going to be removed, probably."
That's right. I think she played hardball and said, "If you want your retirement, you should just go ahead and Get it.
Well, let's see if he can keep his trap shut. Okay. Now, I love, speaking of sheriffs gone bad, this is McFadden out of Mecklenburg, who's also in the hot seat. But I love how Majority Leader Brendan Jones is trolling him. He calls him "not my fault" McFadden. He's going at him. Says he, didn't follow the law. Then he said, Irina's law has done no good and was a mistake. This is hilarious. Genuine question. Why Sheriff McFadden's Twitter handle sugar-free talk?
That's funny. That is funny.
And this is really bad. So, he's going to have to testify, I believe, next week.
Mhm.
This is a pending hearing about a lot of things, from the use of DEI to now putting up clearly Hispanic offenders who are illegals and calling them white guys.
Yeah. Well, that's
Taking
been
his
going
breath
on for a while. We've seen it, not just Sheriff
Everywhere.
McFadden, but he's done the majority of it.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of DEI, we had a seminal. I want to explain to you how seminal this finding was. This came down on Friday. This relates to the EO's executive orders that Trump has put out. Now, this is important in this way. Think about it this way. Let's say, God forbid, we have a Democrat president coming up, right? The EOs go away. Now it can't. The Fourth Circuit, which is the most liberal circuit, it's in our circuit. It's got Virginia.
Mhm.
I think it doesn't have DC, but it's right outside of it.
Mhm.
It's the most liberal. It found for Trump in this. Let me tell you the finding. They vacated a district court nationwide injunction, arguing that this is, eliminating DEI in programs of federal grants. That includes schools. This is important. Lack standing, and there's no enforcement threat. There's, nothing there. And they're saying that, look, this is, this does not violate First Amendment protection. So this is going to stand.
Yeah. And this is one of the rulings we've been waiting on. It's, we have some in the state we're waiting on, but this federal one is one we've been waiting on. So that's good.
Fourth Circuit, left-wing judges, we have a lot of problems in the Fourth Circuit. So for it to clear that is pretty damn amazing. So we broke a story together with our new partners, Accuracy and Media.
Yeah.
We love them. We love Adam. We're going to have Adam on, not next week, but the next. Another undercover investigation, this time at NC State, violating Trump's executive order.
And the state law.
No, state law hasn't been enacted yet.
I thought it was for the universities. I thought they
It
had.
is. Well, that's a policy. So yeah, the Board of Governors of UNC
Yeah.
has a policy for no DEI, but the executive order means that they can get funding yanked.
Removed. Good.
So this
Good
is
for us.
part of the investigation we had. We love the fact that Dan Bongino is retweeting us. We don't like to brag or drop names.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're working really hard for you guys. And I just want to say this. It's great to get the accolades from Dan Bongino, but it would be greater to get them from our own people inside North Carolina. I recently today had a call with I think she's the Moore County vice chair for the NCG for the GOP. And she's like, we watch your stuff. I'm like, just tell us you're doing it. Send us your ballot. We're here to help you guys.
Yeah.
And listen, if we don't like somebody on there, we're going to tell you we don't like them. Sorry, but we are.
Well, and more importantly, we want to let people plead their side, because
Right.
I'll tell you, a lot of times, if we're not there, right? Let's just say Moore County, even though I know everybody there. Let me pick a county I don't know. All right, I don't know Haywood, right? So somebody calls me and say, oh, we don't like that candidate, whatever. We're not going to take it at face value. We're going to ask that candidate questions, okay?
Mhm.
We're going to ask them questions. So remember, this happened. All right, so now we're in a good position where everything is legal and lawful. So Margot, I'm going to show you this video. This pretty crazy of NC State. Watch.
Yeah, because it's reversing that policy.
Oh.
And then,
Sorry.
wow. It's reversing the policy, but still, we move.
Yeah.
We move.
Get creative.
Exactly. And we're still able to do the things that we want to do,
We're
have these
doing
events and programs, we have to be a little more
Gotta be
careful.
careful.
But I think that the students have been very supportive. They're very knowledgeable too. Like they know what's going on, and they've been having a lot of
Okay.
grace for us as well.
All right. Look, nice guy. He's just doing right what they will allow. But the point we want to make to you is this stuff is going to end now.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to keep exposing it. And shame on you, NC State. You think we're dumb? I mean, we're going to find these out, and we're going to continue to do it.
Adam and his team are very, very efficient.
We love him.
We love him. The last thing we're going to talk about is something very important. Oh, I'll also say that we're going to partner with Manhattan Institute, which is the preeminent conservative policy think tank for everything conservative, from economics to education to crime. And I am just so pumped at what we're able to do, bringing DC resources to our grassroots so we can understand and learn more.
Yeah, I think people have time, an hour, which is about what we do, to listen. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to partner with someone that's going to really teach them something while they're commuting, while they're listening, doing their laundry, whatever.
Yeah, and these
With
people
really valuable information.
they be knowing stuff. A think tank, some of them are thinking. Some of them are not. Some
You
of them are
think? But
Manhattan Institute is one of the preeminent ones. Look, I've got to tell you something about this. I'm super excited because this is a serious damn issue. We've been covering it through the foreign doctor bill. We've been covering it through the vape shops.
Yes.
Okay. Sending money to Yemen, selling pot, and then funding terrorism.
And trafficking.
Trafficking as well. So there is a new Sharia coalition in the Congress. I got to tell you, lately I have been seeing a ton on my feed of congressmen coming out every damn day saying Sharia law is a threat to the republic.
Well, you're doing good when you got Hitch Slap from Australia commenting on your podcast. So thank you, Hitch. Well, look, this is really, really important. We've got Chip Roy, who's seeing it right there in his backyard. Brandon Gill, also in Texas. And then, look, Randy Fine, he's never said anything, but he's not going to support that.
Well, I love me some Randy Fine. Randy's a good friend. Look, Mark Harris, this happened right in his district. So I'm going to put something on for Mark Harris. He's in the Charlotte, Mint Hill area, Concord. And they had an ISIS terror threat. He's serious business. So I'm glad that someone in our delegation here in North Carolina is stepping up.
As we laid out the other day there at the caucus, the things that they are involved in and supporting, whether it be stoning to death for those that have somehow been unfaithful to their cause, for those that have committed apostasy by leaving Islam. Listen, radical Islam is a serious, serious problem. And it's not just in Mandami's New York. This is a problem, as I pointed out, in my own district, a very quiet suburban area just outside of Charlotte, Mint Hill, North Carolina, where a young man was radicalized at the age of 14, pledged his commitment, evidently, to ISIS. And here we are at age 18.
And he got busted for, a hammer attack. So when we talk about Sharia law, and we've had a lot of experts on Islam on our show, we're going to continue to do that because it is a threat, and it is here very much so in North Carolina. And we're going to stop it. This is what the Congress is doing. Now, we can do this on a state level. I'll be happy to tell you that I've already been speaking with Brendan Jones's office.
Good.
And we discussed some of this. So look, it's going to ban the use of Sharia law in courts. We have something similar here in North Carolina. I'm going to explain. Bars entry into the U.S. for Sharia.
I'm
sorry.
Sharia. Hey, we're not AI.
Listen, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I need my coffee, man.
Sharia adherence.
Thank you. Say that 5 times. I was going to say Shakira. I'm thinking Super Bowl. She had a Super Bowl show a couple years ago. Okay. Targets family contract arbitration cases, applies broadly, not just to Islam. It means, look, as Jews, we have something called a Bet Din, and it is a Jewish court, right? It is and by the way, it's not a big deal. It governs divorce, etc. It doesn't do some of the things I'm going to show you in a second. When we talk about Sharia law, these are just the highlights. Men can marry 9-year-olds. Men can have 4 wives at the same time. Women, if you're out there, you can only have 1 husband. Leaving Islam, you're going to be DED, dead. Insulting Islam and Muhammad, death penalty. Women must wear a hijab. We're seeing this in Iran, or a burqa, or they're stoned to death. Women need a man's permission to drive, attend school, etc. We've seen that with the Taliban and other places that refuse to allow their women to go to school. We don't want that here.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the things that I think Saudi Arabia did away with in the last 5 years. They allowed women to drive. It was a monumental step in the Middle East for that to happen. And even my sister was proud of them for doing that, because when she was there during one of the wars, I think it was Gulf War, they wouldn't let her drive.
Oh, hell no, Deb. We're not doing
that. We ain't doing that. I can't mess my hair up with that thing.
No me gusta. You love when I say that. I know you do.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, this is serious stuff, because we've seen cases here in the U.S. where young girls are beaten the hell out of by their parents in full view of people at school, and get away with it because that's Sharia law. You're allowed to do that because they didn't wear a hijab. Look, the first victims of Islam are Muslim women. Muslims are victims of this as well.
That's scary. And is it true that you must have an escort, and even sometimes if your brother is escort, that could get you in trouble? They really want your dad, or does it matter?
I'm not really an expert on that in particular.
I've heard that's what's going on.
We're going to have to ask. Yeah, we're going to have to ask someone.
Okay.
I do know that we're bringing in a former Muslim who has to travel with security. I mean, or he'll be killed.
What?
Yeah, he had to leave his country he's from. They will kill you. They will kill you if you leave. So, he is an expert on Islam. He's coming to Mark Harris's district. And matter of fact, he's going to speak to the GOP there. He's going to talk to a couple of churches. I mean, this is serious business, guys. I mean, life or death.
Yeah, and I would highly encourage you, if you're not familiar with Sharia law and some of the things that go on with Islam, you really need to introduce yourself, your children, because they're learning it at school. Mm-hmm. There are actually schools in North Carolina that are teaching this
stuff.
lot
of them. You think they can normalize trans? They can normalize trans and something completely opposite at the same time. If
Correct.
Anyone can make that bullshit work, Democrats, that's who.
That's right.
All right. So,
all right, Sloan. So what's next? Oh, Texas.
Don't listen. You ain't getting out of here that early. I'm going to tell you about this law. I'm going to tell you about this law that I want to bring here. This is already on the books in Texas, so it can treat any street gang. Anything that you would do with a street gang, you can do with a foreign terrorist organization. So when you think about the vape shop stories that we're talking about, I mean, if they're operating in a group that appears like a criminal gang, they can be treated like that. So in other words, the government, typically what happens is the U.S. has to designate an FTO, and that's a federal level. The state can do it first and prevent all these crimes. That's what I want here in North Carolina. That's what we're going to petition for. It allows civil lawsuits, injunctions, property seizure. If you take the property from these, if they're operating in vape shops, if they're operating whatever, because they've got to have some criminal enterprise to do business, you can possess that and make conspiracy. Make conspiracy punishable by the same completed offense. In other words, terrorist things are their training, their support, their all that. If you can charge them with, felonies, etc., just for support, it's so much easier and quicker than a foreign charge. You can do them at the same time.
Right. It's like the murder charge that you can do statewide or
Your
federal.
DA can do it, but
Yeah.
if your DA can do it and has the, they don't have to wait on a federal prosecutor. They
Right.
can do it. I want this law in North Carolina. I want it.
So we need to go to the legislature. You
I've
and I are
already
gonna
done
make a
it,
little-
girl.
Oh,
I've
good.
already seen the model legislation. Clock
Good.
it. Yes. So we need to get that. Let's explain this. What we have on the books already since 2013 is this. There's a law that bars state courts, agencies like adoption agencies, health agencies, et cetera, arbitrators, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You cannot apply foreign law, that is Sharia, from outside of the U.S.
Good.
Okay.
And it
Now,
requires
it's a contract, right? Let's say that we're doing a contract with Qatar because they suck, right? If they're doing a contract and they're getting workers from, let's say, Charlotte,
Mhm.
that contract is going to be null and void if, well, first of all, you have to have people that want to prosecute that, but it's going to be null and void if it makes the women have a man riding. If it's
drive them. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good. I like it.
it's on the books. It does not mention Sharia law, but it's any
Doesn't have
foreign
to.
law. But why shouldn't our country protect our constitutional rights?
Well, and why our state is obviously, well, that was in the forefront. It's really crazy that they thought that far ahead about Sharia law, but they weren't thinking about the bathrooms and boys being in them very well.
Sharia law wasn't mentioned here, and that's the beauty of it. Because
Yeah.
look, if and I don't know any legal system that's oppressive like Sharia, but I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah, so it doesn't specify. Look, like I said, every congressman is talking about Sharia law right now. I'm telling you, every one of them. So we're getting to a point where the Republican Party, there's going to be a hearing in Congress this week as well. Sharia law is a clear and present danger to every person, including Muslims.
I agree. I think this is great. I think it's finally, and what this really does is separate the difference between being a Muslim and being an Islamic, like an Islamic terrorist or someone that practices this part of it. That's not the same.
Well, Islam has 3 tenets, like a stool. So it's got the political, the legal, and then the religious. The religious part shields us from doing anything about it. I like the law that we have on the books. I like the Texas law because you're going for the legal part of it and the political part of it. Jihad it's political and it's spiritual, right? So you're going for the jihad aspect and you're going for that. There are plenty of Muslims, in fact, that come from other countries that don't want to live under an oppressive Islamic regime.
Yeah. That's why they come here. That's why they come here, though, because they feel more freedom.
But if you're going to push that stuff on us,
Nuh-uh.
you're going to have some issues and complications in North Carolina.
I'm going to say it like my friend says it. No me gusta.
No me gusta. We don't like it.
My Southern accent is not nearly as drawn as yours in that one, but I'll work on it.
I have a serious Southern accent. I really do. All right, guys. Well, look, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you very much for listening. I've got a special tomorrow. By the way, I want to pump it up with Adam B. Coleman. He's a good friend of mine. He writes for the New York Post, for Newsweek. He wrote a book about being a Black warrior against wokeism, basically. But he just did a fantastic documentary about, I can't talk about it without getting pissed. The Biden administration emboldening butchers masquerading as healthcare workers who chopped off breasts, sterilized children. And I'm going to have it. We're going to post it here 7, 8, and 9 o'clock. We're going to air it. It's fascinating, and don't think it stopped.
No, even though listen, we know they were saying one thing and doing another. We're not doing that. Clearly they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're going to run that. We're going to get some candidates on next week, which is this week. We are also we've been asked to partner with our friends at the Georgia War Room to talk about issues that go across the borders, because in case you didn't know it, Florida, as well as New York and Georgia, have had the largest influx of people moving to North
North
Carolina.
Carolina, number one. Don't
And we
take
share
your
a
ass
border.
down here.
We share a border with Georgia. Last
telling
week,
you.
several state legislators were in Georgia talking about what's going on in North Carolina. So we're going to partner with the podcast over there and talk about how we can help each other.
We have partners. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know how we're going to do it all. As we said, we're going to be doing the Sunday show. If you care about your state, you will not only share this, you will hit our Substack up, NC Political Tea. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you hook yourself up?
Get ready to go vote on Thursday.
Thursday
Bank your
is the day.
vote. Yes.
Make a plan now to vote. Make your plan, put it on your calendar, get you out there, your family out there. I don't care if you hadn't done it before. And by the way, did you know that it's public record whether or not you voted in the primary?
We can find out. But listen, make sure you check your local county Board of Elections website to make sure that you're voting in the right precinct and where to go, because there have been significant changes, especially, around colleges and even in small communities where they've combined or moved them. So make sure you check the website.
Right. And your regular polling station may not be an early polling site.
Correct.
Do you know that I do that every year, every single year? So I'm just on autopilot. So, and if you're like me, you need to do that. But drive your neighbors. If you go early vote the first day, you've got time to harass and harangue your neighbors, don't harass any Democrats, right?
No.
We want Republicans out there, okay? But you harass and you harangue your church membership, and be annoying. Be annoying. You need to get out 10 people to vote. This primary, we gotta get Don Brown over the line.
Don Brown, Michael Burns, Adam Smith here, and we're going to talk about NC1 now later this week coming up. And listen, your sheriff races are probably the most important races that you have. Please make sure that you understand that and vote for judges and sheriffs.
Speaking of sheriffs, in 2 weeks, I'm going to Craven County. I'm doing a ride along with the sheriffs out there.
Oh my gosh.
Probably have a lot to report on, but it's good to have firsthand knowledge of what sheriffs are doing, because they're up for re-election in all 100 counties. So,
and we support them in their efforts. Have a good night.
Have a good night. We will see you when? Tuesday night. Let me set the outro video. Hold on a second. Keep talking. Okay. Ready, and
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.